Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Thank you all for coming. I hope you're excited for today's webinar. It's a special webinar. The webinar series is brought to you by the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council and Yehuda Berg, who many of you might know from his many years of working here in the community as a small business advisor and counselor. And today's topic is one of his favorite topics, and it's a very important topic, and that's the topic of business plans and why you need one. And I want to point out that there's many types of business plans, and if you want, you could actually split your business to two categories. There's business plans that you need if you want to get an investor or you want to get money from a bank and they want to understand your business. You hand them a business plan, and it's usually very detailed, and it's really about getting others to understand what your business is about. But there's another type of business plan, and that business plan, which is a very basic business plan, is for you as a business owner to make sure that you've thought through and you've mapped out your business. A lot of people start their business as a passion and on the fly. They don't necessarily always think through the whole picture. And everybody should make some very basic business plan, which at minimum takes what's in your head and puts it on paper. That could be your basis then later when you need to get an investor and you need to get a bank loan. You could put more effort into that and take that. That could be your starting point. So, today we're not going in depth into the deep dive of we're going to be giving you the overview of how to put together a good working basic business plan. And Yehuda is the best person equipped to deal with this. He's been helping people with business plans for many years, and he's also helped people apply for banks, and he understands the value of getting loans, understands the value of having a good business plan. And so without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Yehuda. This is meant to be an interactive class. You could ask questions along the way. Yehuda is going to give you opportunity for that during the class and also at the end of the class. And I'd like to thank Robert Eli Cohen from the Community Council, who if I don't see him on yet, but I guess he'll be on soon to participate in this. And so Yehuda, without further ado, the floor is yours. Everybody sit back, relax, and enjoy. And we hope, please, if you have questions, feel free. You could unmute yourself and ask Yehuda a question by all means.
Okay, thank you very much, Rabbi Werdy. I really appreciate the introduction. Rabbi Werdy really basically said my introduction. Like you said, the point of this class is to be an interactive class. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. And as Rabbi Werdy said, also, like, this is not, this is a short time frame, so we're not going to be able to really get into the real, numbers and of a real professional plan. But just to get the main point of this class is to give a very, very basic overview of exactly why it's important to have a plan, and then a general outline of what a person should be looking for as they write the plan. So let me get right into it. So again, thank you very much, everyone, for being here. So, one more caveat before I start. It's ideal mostly. I'm a business counselor for Crown Heights Young Entrepreneurs, and I deal mostly with startups and people that are pre-venture starting their businesses. So most of the work that I do in terms of helping them write a plan, it's for that stage. But really, this class is good for any stage. But the focus on this class will be, someone who has an idea for a business or a company and wants to get it started. That's the main focus of how to actually get that idea on a paper, on a business plan. But of course, this really would apply to an existing business too. If someone wants to just get a better feel for his business, so this class would apply to both to that type of situation also. So I deal. So let's get started. So I deal with clients all the time. People come in and they say that they have they have a great business idea, and they want to start their business.
Yehuda,
and, yes.
Why don't we ask for people to raise their hand? How many people on here right now actually have a business plan?
Right. Okay. That's actually a very good point. So does anyone here, is this new for everyone here? Has anyone here have ever written a business plan before?
Just raise your hand on the chat function. There's a place where you could raise your hand. Please raise your hand if you have a business plan for your business. Doesn't look like anyone
It
has
doesn't look
raised
like
their hand.
anybody's ever written. Okay.
I thought about raising my hand. I have a plan in my head, but never put it on paper.
Right. Okay. So that's exactly what this class is about. People, people have a plan in their head and looking to put it on paper. So as I was saying before, so I meet with clients all the time, and they think, why is it worth it to actually write a whole plan? A lot of people don't have the capability or capacity to be able to write a plan on themselves, so it's actually going to be an expense of theirs. They're going to have to hire someone to write it for them. But it's still always encouraged for someone to write a plan. So before I get into the actual nitty-gritty of exactly how to write the plan, I want to just give a few reasons why I feel it's very important to be able to have not just to have the idea, but actually write a professional business plan. The first reason is it creates a real vision to see if your business is viable. Somebody comes in and they say, "Oh, this, I have a great idea for a product. I have a great idea for a service. I spoke to my friends, I spoke to family, I spoke to people in the industry. Everyone thinks it's an amazing idea, but that could be true. But once you actually put pen to paper and you write it through, and you see that I didn't realize this is going to cost that much, or do I have some type of businesses require a type of entrepreneur to be able to run it. If it's something that's in sales, you need to be that type of person to be able to network and to be able to, to sell to people. You have to be the right type of person. You have to have the startup money for certain businesses. You have to be able to not only have the startup cost, but also see what the business will cost you month to month. So the business plan really forces you to actually put pen to paper and just see if this is a viable idea. Like, not again, the famous last words I always hear from people is, but everyone told me that this was a great idea and the community really needs this product. But again, so that could be true, but if it's going to cost you more money to actually than what's going to come in, what the income will be from the business, then it wouldn't be worth it. So this forces you to basically look at real hard numbers to see if this is actually viable. The second reason why I think it's very important to have a business plan is that it creates realistic timelines. Again, this really depends on the individual. Some people are go-getters and they're very responsible and they're really detailed of exactly, they know to do what they need to do to be able to run a business. But it takes a lot to run a successful business. Before you even start the company, you need to actually come up with a business name. You need to register the business legally, open up a checking account. Some businesses require licensing and permits. You need a tax ID. This is all before the business actually gets started and you figure out how you're going to make money. So there's so many things involved. So again, the business plan forces you, again, as you'll see at the end of the class, if everyone, I'm sure all you guys have emailed, I'm going to email actually a sample plan that one of our clients graciously lets us send. So you'll see how it is. You'll actually be able to see it. But one of the main focuses is to be able to have a realistic timeline of how everything is going to be done. So if you could say by week 1, I want to be able to have the business registered. By week 2, again, let's give an example of a clothing company. I want to have my manufacturer set up by week 1. By week 3, I want to have a supplier. Whatever the case may be, the business plan forces you to be able to create a realistic timeline. Again, some individuals don't need it, but in dealing with all these years with clients, I feel that having the timelines helps a lot, and it's very important. Then another reason why it's very important to write a plan is, as Rabbi already mentioned in his introduction, is to secure funding, whether through a lender or through an investor. It's very hard to walk into a lender or to an investor and say, "I have a great idea, and please fund me." That's not going to happen. If you present to the lender or the investor a detailed professional plan that shows them that you have the capacity, it shows them that you have the capacity both operationally and financially to to run a business, then it's much more likely. I think the statistics show 5 times more likely for your business to be funded if you actually have a professional plan. I just listed 2 more reasons. Anyone could jump in with any questions at any time, by the way. It's fine. I don't mind at all. Another reason I think is, so again, as I said before, people come in with a great business idea, but most of the time people don't reinvent the wheel. So whatever product or service that you're providing, chances are that it's out there somewhere. Someone is already doing it. So the goal for you to be able to be a profitable company or business is that you're going to have to show that you're better than the competition, that you're more, in whatever way you feel you're better, you're more, whatever way you make, you're more unique, whether it's better service, cheaper, better quality, whatever it may be, you're going to have to show that people should buy your product or come and let them provide, you should provide them your service because you do it better than the competition. So it forces you to look at the competition and see what they're doing, and therefore you could be able to focus more on making your idea and your business better. And the last reason I'm going to say right now, again, is obviously there's many different reasons, but I just wanted to just hit all the main points, is to be able to reduce your own risks. A lot of times people invest. I see it all the time. Unfortunately, people invest thousands and thousands of dollars. Unfortunately, the statistics show that most new businesses fail, and a lot of times it's because people didn't take into account, they didn't do proper market research. They didn't realize how much, their monthly expenses would be. So if you just go in it, fly by night, and you just move ahead and do something like this without actually doing the actual research beforehand, you could come out to lose a lot of money and have nothing to show for it. So a business plan makes you, again, put pen to paper and basically will lay out, again, the goal of the plan, one of the goals is to see if you could financially run the business. Is there going to be enough money? Again, basically, we'll talk about it soon, is making the projections of how much you feel you'll be able to make. But the point, one of the points of the plan is to see that if this is actually going to be feasible for you, if you'll be able to make it, and it'll reduce your risk of going into something that really you're not ready for. So if you have a real professional plan laid out, it'll make you more confident, it'll make a funder more confident, and you'll be able to get off on the right foot. Does anybody have any questions on anything I've said so far?
Why don't we ask if anyone wants to volunteer, like they're on, what's motivating them? They came to this webinar. If anyone wants to share, like what's driving you to make a business plan, and what are you looking to get out of this class? Anyone wants to share? Just unmute yourself and just so
I'm looking more to find out what goes into making a business plan.
But so, what's your name?
David Azarad. Hi.
Okay, nice to meet you. Okay, yeah. So, yeah. For what? So, give us a little background. Like, what are you looking for in terms of what type of business are you starting, and what's your motive in terms of your business plan?
So I'm a curious person. I'm not currently in the middle of starting a business, but I am curious to learn more about how to make a business plan, either as it relates to consulting or with some sort of brokerage. There's a few different options that are ahead of me, so I'm just curious to learn more in a general sense.
Right.
Thank you for sharing. Okay. I see on here a familiar name, Eli Wasserman. I know you're running a new IT cybersecurity business. Tell us a little bit about your needs in terms of a business plan.
Thank you. I love being voluntold here, but a pleasure to share. So I've been, for the past year and a half or so, I've been building a IT cybersecurity business. We're well into it, but we're looking to obviously get more formalized and build our plan out. We don't actually have a plan. We spent a lot of time planning on what projections should look like. But my real goal here is to look at, what does a business plan look like? What sections does it include? And start putting those pieces together.
Okay, amazing. We're going to
Okay.
get to that shortly.
All right, is there anyone else that wants to share? All right, Yehuda, the floor is yours.
Okay. Okay, so now I guess now we can focus on the actual business plan itself. Now, there's really no one size fits all. A business plan really needs to have I'm going to talk about the two main objectives that a business plan needs to have. But there's no real one particular formula for a plan. But for the purpose of this class, I actually do, when I meet with clients, I have a certain formula that I like to see. Many years ago, we actually had a business plan competition, and we used, so the people that were actually, sponsored and funded the competition, they wanted a certain format, and I always felt that it was very, very useful. And I basically, every time I do a business, I review a business plan with someone, I like to work with this format, mainly because, as I was going to say, there's really two main objectives in a business plan, and the format that I like to work with basically covers those two main objectives. But as I said, you don't have to write the plan in the way that we're gonna outline soon. But just the main goal of a business plan is, as I said, two objectives, and those are operational feasibility and financial feasibility. If you're able to convey that through the plan, then you're off. That's a very, very positive step. So the
Maybe
operational
you should
piece.
share your screen now, Yehuda. Put it up so as you talk about each part, they can see it.
I'm going to do that later because I want to point it out, because I don't want to, this is the screen doesn't convey what I want to say yet. I'm going to share the screen when we're up to it. But so, because what I'm going to show is actually a sample plan. I want to just go over, the basic components of the plan, and then I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show everyone here how that manifests into an actual plan and how that person wrote it. So again, so as I said, we're talking about the two things to convey is operational feasibility. So pretending you're having a plan, so you're going to be showing yourself or a funder. You want to show that you have the capacity to run this business. You yourself have the right temperament, have the right knowledge, have the right certification, have the right qualifications to run the business. That you understand what it entails to run this particular business, whatever industry it is. That you understand that there is a market for this business, and that you understand the market. And that you have the ability to run the 9 to 5 operations of the business. That's the things you need to show in the operational feasibility. And then in the financial feasibility, what you're going to need to show is that financially you could afford this, right? You'll be able to afford the startup costs. You'll project your monthly expenses. And with your projections, will you be able to meet those expenses? So again, a lot of it, especially if it's a new business or it's a pre-venture or something new, it's going to be hard to really be 100% sure. But again, your job is to convince yourself first and foremost, and obviously any lender or investor, that you do it, that you're fairly confident. Again, this will be proven through market research, having a solid marketing plan. That's too detailed to get into for this class, exactly what, how a marketing plan should look like. But again, that's the goal, is to convince yourself and the funders, whoever you're going to show the business plan to, that you have the capabilities, both financially and operationally, to run the plan. So let's go through. I'm going to go through, as I said before, there's the way I do it is there's 10 components that should be in the business plan. Now, I always tell my clients, people get overwhelmed. They hear there's 10 different sections. It doesn't have to be long. Each section could be 1 or 2 pages. the point is not, just to have, a whole long Megillus, and it really should be plain English, and each component should be explicitly explained in what exactly to answer the question of that particular component. Don't talk over anyone's heads. People just want to see that you understand what you're doing and that the business will be profitable. So let's go through the 10 components. And just as a word of advice, I tell my clients not to make it overwhelming, is just go through, again, depending on the time crunch that you're on. I assume most people here aren't on a particular, the time crunch right now to write a plan. So if you take each section, like I said, there are 10 sections, take each one a day, one a week, one a month, whatever it makes you comfortable. And just do one at a time. Focus on that one component, and then go from there. This way, it makes it less overwhelming. It doesn't have to be too long. If 10 components could be 20 pages, that's fine. So let's go through the 10. I'll go through each one, and I'll stop after each one, and a person could, and anyone could ask any questions, to see if they want me to explain more. Like I said, after I finish the 10 components, I'm going to actually show you a sample plan and show how it was incorporated. So the first section, you guys should be writing this down or putting this down somewhere. Or again, I'm going to be sending the plan after the class. You'll be able to see for yourself. So the first is obviously the business description. So that's the, basically so that's the title of the, the index, business description. Again, plain English. What's the mission statement for the business? What is your idea? What are you selling? What is your product or service? Where the store is going to be? Why do people need this product or service? That's basically what it is. Convince, as I said before, convince yourself, convince a lender that this is something that you understand what you're selling, you understand what the product or service is, why people are going to want this particular product, why you feel it's a need right now in the market. And again, just a basic overview of exactly, again, that's what your goal is, explaining what your company or what your business will be. So that's the first component, the business description. Again, I'm going to show it actually in papers. You'll see it soon. Does anybody have any questions? And again, this is we don't have time to get like full detail into exactly each component, but I don't have, someone just asked me, do we have slides? I don't have slides right for this. We do have a PowerPoint that we did years ago. Anybody who wants it, I'm going to send it after the class. But okay, so the first part is the business description. The second section is I like to call it a market analysis and target market. Right. So basically, in this section, you're going to have to make a case of why people actually need this product or service. Right. Who is the market? Who's the one? Who are people? Again, sometimes a person can have a product or service that's self-explanatory. Person has a grocery, he's selling the bread and milk. That's obviously something that everybody needs. But sometimes you're going to have to explain that this is a product or service. You're going to have to educate the consumer that this is something that's needed out there in your community and in the market. So you're going to have to actually do the research and show through the plan exactly who the market is. If there's a target market, you should also explicitly say who your target market is. And again, the point is to show, like I said, show through the plan that the larger the market is, the more successful the business will be. So if you're trying to convince someone that this business will be successful, you should really do the research and show that there's actually a large target market, and explain who exactly needs this product or service. So that's the second section. The third section is industry analysis and trends for the business. So a lot of times when a person has an idea for a business or a company, what lenders and investors are afraid of is that as you see technology advances, in a lot of cases, your idea might become obsolete in a year or two. Someone will come up with something better or cheaper, and they won't need your service. So that could make a lender hesitant, or even yourself. You said, yeah, this might be a great idea, but why should I invest so much money if in a year or two this might become obsolete? So here in the plan, you're going to do your research, and you're going to try to focus on how you're going to stay cutting edge, how you're going to evolve together with the company, and if things need to change, that you'll make those change, and you'll do a deep dive into the industry, whatever industry this may be, and you'll explain of why you feel that that you'll be able to stay cutting edge. You'll be able to, you won't be blown out of the market. That's the third component of the plan. Any questions up until this point? Okay, the next section, which I find to be very important, is and this is the fourth section. It's called it's a competitive analysis. Now, like I said before, you're probably not reinventing the wheel. There are probably other businesses that are doing what you are doing. So in this section of the business plan, you'll be listing your competitors. You'll be and basically outlining, their weaknesses and versus your strengths. You'll basically show them why, that this is what they do, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is why you should. What makes us unique? Come through us, because we're gonna be cheaper. We're gonna be better. We're gonna have better customer service. Whatever the reason may be, you're gonna have to show that you're better than what's out there already. So that's that part of again, this is very important, especially to an investor or lender who'll ask you right away, I already know this product is already out there in the market. Why should we invest with you? So this section will explain why and they should go with you. What makes your product more unique? The fifth section is marketing strategy, and here's where you're going to outlay exactly how you're going to get the word out about your product or service. Again, if you're, it could be network, depending on the type of industry, the type of business. It'll be regular print ads, digital ads, flyers, networking, whatever the case may be, whatever industry you are, the marketing part is very different depending on the type of business that you're running. So in this section, you're going to be explaining exactly how you're going to do it's basically a mini marketing plan of how you're going to actually market your business, and how people are going to hear about you, how you're going to try to keep customer retention, is very important. So you're going to lay that out in the fifth section. The sixth and seventh section are basically very similar, and that's the meat and potatoes, as I say, of the business. It's the operations and management and organization. So operations, what are you going to be doing? Let's take again, I've talked about the plan I'm going to show you is a clothing business. So let's talk about the clothing business. The person looking at your plan wants to see that you understand the business fully and you understand all that it entails. So you'll have to outlay basically your 9 to 5 of where the office is going to be located, who's going to be your manufacturer for the product, who's going to be your supplier, pricing, what's pricing going to be, anything that needs to be done with the business. It should be in the sixth, and the sixth section will be the actual operations, and the seventh section is management organizations. Who's going to be running each, again, if it's one department, if it's 10 departments, whatever it may be. Again, sometimes if it's a larger company, so you're gonna have a staff of employees, people that are working for you. So you would add who the workers are, who's going to be your employees, who's going to be on your staff. You can also list all the professionals working on your staff. If you have an accountant, attorney, whatever type of business you have, you list all the management and their qualifications. The eighth section is the financials. So in the business plan, for a simple business plan, like I said, we're not going to get into more detailed financials. But there are two main things that you should have in the business plan regarding financials. You should have a startup template, which means your startup money, how much money do you have to start, and how much money is it going to cost you to start. I'm going to show you that in the actual plan. So that's the financials, and the ninth section is actually the appendix, which is just all the background documentation of your, again, depending on the type of industry and the type of business that you are, or the licensing that you're going to need for this business. I'll put in resumes, certifications, you know, any diplomas, anything that you could put in to show that you and your team have the capacity to run a successful business. That would be in that section. And the last section is basically, this is nothing new. This is the executive summary. Sometimes a company, sometimes someone looking at your plan, you know, won't have the patience to go through an entire business plan. So they'll look just at the executive summary, which is all of these 10 components, basically put into one or two pages, just bullet points on all the 10 things that we spoke about until now. So that's really, again, it's for this class, you know, it's very, very basic, but this is the outline. We have these 10 components. I'm going to share the screen now, and I'm going to show you. Does everybody see it? Okay, so this is, everybody sees the plan. Someone can just talk and just make sure everyone sees it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So this is a business plan that one of our clients graciously allows us to show. So again, it's not a long plan. This, you know, so this is basically, you'll see how this covers everything that I spoke about. This is a business plan. This is the cover page. So this woman was starting a conservative women's swimwear business. That was, she already had a clothing line already that she was selling. This is a new addition to her business. So this was her business plan. So this is her cover page, and if you look, so this encompasses, here you see she did the executive summary first. I do sometimes recommend people put it at the front because this is something, as I said, some people are not going to want to look at the entire plan. So the executive summary does, but if you look at it, let's look at the bold, the executive summary. She describes the idea, the mission, the company, financial outlook. And then you have what we spoke about before, the business description, the market analysis, the industry analysis, competitive analysis, marketing strategy, operations, management and organization, financial projection, and the appendices. If everyone notices, the whole thing is 20 pages. So again, it seems like overwhelming, but as I said before, if you cover, you know, if you cover all the main, you know, basically, like I said before, the objectives are to show operational and financial feasibility. So this is, you know, as long as you show that, it's fine. It doesn't need to be overwhelming. So again, I'll just show a few things. Anybody have any questions? Again, so I'm not going to go through all 20 pages. So again, so let's just, yeah, so we'll just go through it quickly. The executive summary, the idea, the mission, the company, what it is. As I told you, it's a competitive swimwear company. Business description. I'm going to send everyone a copy of this, so everyone will have it, and they could look at it and basically understand. You know, again, I'm not going to go through all 20 pages, but here you have the business description. Remember before I spoke about timelines, how important it is to have like a timeline for your business. So here you see she made a timeline in her business description. Within 1 month, she's going to develop this. Within 2 months, she's going to have identify manufacturer, fabric, whatever it is. Again, this is for her particular business. She basically has a timeline, and it basically gives a, she put pen to paper of what she hopes to accomplish in the first year of the business. Within 1 year, within 2 years. Okay. Market analysis. Remember, we spoke about a market analysis. So again, so her job over here was to be able to convey to herself, and to the people looking at the plan that there's actually a market for her business. So she has, so as I said, so let's just talk about her business for a minute. Her business is her company was going to be selling conservative swimwear. We know it's very popular in the frum community with CHYE, right? We have this is, but again, it's not really such a large market. So is this something that could really be profitable? So her job here was to show that there really is a market more than just a few Orthodox women that would wear this. So again, you could tend to believe it or not, but her job is to do research and see who else would buy this type of swimwear. So she says over here, modest-minded swimwear has gone mainstream. There's a lot of room for growth and innovation. Trends are leaning to sun protection. Long sleeve summer active clothing is a new rule with millennials. So she's trying to make the case here that this is a large target market. It's not just Orthodox and religious women, but it's more, it's more mainstream. Again, you could tend to, the investor could tend to believe it or not. That's why it's important to have background material. Again, if you attach news articles to what she's saying to see if what she's saying is true or not. So yes, if you're looking, everyone sees I'm seeing the target demographic is women. So she's making a point to show how large the market is. 1835, millennial, cosmopolitan, middle class to upper class families, educated, health conscious, singles, from Jewish, festival goers. Again, basically showing that there's a large market. Right. Industry analysis, again, as we said before, so here's where she has to do goes through the, as I said before, that to make sure that to convey that she understands the industry and that she's always going to stay cutting edge. We're not going to go through all of it here. So, jumping out to the competitive analysis. So remember, as I mentioned before, that again, she wasn't doing something new. There are other companies out there already selling conservative swimwear. So she listed them, and basically she listed their shortcomings. How she's gonna, again, I'll send everyone, I'm not gonna read through all of it, but everyone will be able to see, how she went through each of these companies and showed why she would be better. She listed 3 or 4 companies here, and here she did that after she listed the competition. She went through her company strengths, differentiation from competition. Branding, best costume, that's the name of this company, will sell an idea and an image, not just a product. Strong perspective on the needs of non-frum women, fashionable, more fashionable than other ones, solidly loose fitting. Whatever it is, again, so she bullet pointed about 10 to 15 different ways how she's going to be more unique than the competition. That's the competitive analysis. Okay, now next section we said is marketing strategy. Right, how's she going to get the word out? Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, teaser ad posters, press releases, pop-up shops, going to expos in Brooklyn, 5000 Lakewood, Chinese auctions, gift certificates, samples will be sent to bloggers, Instagrammers. She lists a few of them. So again, so she basically went through how she's going to get the word out for her particular business. And then she spoke about pricing. Okay, here, this is neither here nor there. Some people, sometimes when you show your business plan, depending on who the investor is or who the lender is, they would like to see a little more, they want it to maybe pop a little more and be able to be memorable. So here she just made a little diagram of basically how she's going to act, starts from the design, bringing it to the pattern maker, to the factory, to the warehouse, to sales. Again, this is just neither. Again, it's just sometimes your business lends itself to doing something like this. Sometimes it's not that important, but sometimes a little color in the business plan makes it pop more, and that it could be beneficial. And then she went into the management and organization, operations, personnel, where the location will be, location of operations. She listed the address where it will take place, location of sales. And here was the management and organization. This woman is the founder and owner. This is her team, the lawyer involved, the accountant involved, the production company, who her manufacturer is. Again, this all shows, to yourself and to the people looking at the plan that it's not just an idea, but that it's thought out, and there are people that are actually running. That people running this company knows what they're doing. Everybody good so far? Okay. So the last two things that we'll talk about, as I said, is the financial template. So there's two things that need to be conveyed. This is very, very simple. This again, for a simple new business looking to, again, have a business plan just for yourself to be able to start a business. This is more than enough for you. To secure initial funding, it's more than enough. Sometimes it needs to be more detailed depending on what it is. But again, for our purposes, these templates are fine. So this is the startup cost template. So this is, we'll go through her. This is best costume startup cash projection. So this is her own personal money that she had to start. She had $5,000 of her own money, $25,000 from family and friends. Her grants were $70,000. She got a grant from I think if I remember correctly, it was from the Brooklyn Public Library. So she had $37,500 to start. And these are her startup. These are not monthly expenses. These are startup expenses: advertising, pattern making, sampling. Again, each person will be individualized. I could send everyone. I could send a blank. I could send anyone here who wants. I could send them a blank template where they just could plug in the numbers for themselves. Obviously, everyone is going to be different depending on the type of business that it is. So this is her, again, this is her startup cost, $37,000. Her one-time costs, total one-time fees, $17,380. These are with a working capital of cash flow of $20,120. That's how much money she had to start. Again, that's always a good thing that when you're starting, you're not in the red, and you actually have extra. You have cash. Is always a good thing. It's always a great starting point. So she actually, again, this type of business, obviously she was in the business already, so it lent itself that with the starting money that she had, she was able to, with her expenses, still able to have $20,000 left over. So this is the startup, and the last thing I'm going to show you is the monthly projection. Again, I could send everyone here this cash flow statement, a blank one. You could just plug in the numbers. So you see over here, she has January, February, March, April. This is a year's worth of projections. Now, obviously, you can't just throw numbers out of thin air. You can't just make up numbers. It's the more likely for your business to be successful and to be, whether for yourself or pitching it, is for the numbers to be backed up through research. That's more part in the narrative of the plan. But again, we'll take her numbers at face value, and but these are her monthly projections, January through December. So I'll just go through one of the lines with you. So remember, I mentioned before that she already had two primary sources of revenue. She had she was selling regular dresses and wedding dresses. So this is her third foray into the business, selling swimwear. So so she added it all together. Unfortunately, not all my clients allow me to show them their personal business plans. So it'd be better if it be a fresh plan, which is one business, but this is what I'm able to show you, working off a plan. So let's go to, so again, so as I said, so the revenue source 1 and revenue source 2, that was already from a previous business. So let's just look at revenue source 3. Everyone sees that. So for January, she put herself at $0. She's not expecting to make money in the first month of her business. 0 in February. And in March already, she expects to make $1,000. And then April, 4,400. 5,000 here. So okay, let's add all of it together just to just so to be able to, the numbers will make sense. So this is what she did. So let's go to, as I said, March. So in March, she had total sales with all her 3 businesses of $3,000. Right, that was total gross sales. It's $3,000. Now, cost of goods, which is basically what it cost her to make these products, cost her $5,225 and $425, cost her $700. So left her with a gross profit of $2,300. Then she did her monthly expenses. You see over here, advertising, bank service fees, website. Again, everyone here will be different. So these are her monthly expenses. She listed all of them. Her monthly expenses is $1,019. That leaves her 2,300 minus 1,019, leaves her with cash profit of 1,281. And this is all pre-tax. After taxes, 1,281 was 448, left her with a net profit of the month of $833. And then going into April, again, her type of business is a seasonal business. So April, May, June, July, that's obviously the months where people go swimming. So she obviously projected more money, 4,400, 5,000, and going down the same things. These are the monthly projections. And that's basically it. That's, again, that's the plan. I'm going to send everyone, like, someone mentioned before, do I have slides? I didn't use it for this class, but I'm going to send everyone the PowerPoint that we have together with this plan. I just, again, she graciously allows me to send it. I would just ask that nobody, besides the people in this class, not to send out the actual sample plan to anyone else. Just keep it for yourselves. She allows me to send it, but she doesn't want it just to be a free-for-all to send to everyone. So that's basically it. And that's the plan. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? Okay, it doesn't seem like, because anyone, I don't know if Rabbi Wordy is still on. I'll put in the message bar before I leave. I'll put in my email address. And if anybody wants to reach out, if anybody needs help doing this themselves, again, I don't have the time to write a whole plan, but I'm more than willing to work with everyone here to put the plan together. And everyone, thank you very much for joining, and I really appreciate everyone being on here. And as I said before, I'm going to get all your email addresses. I'm going to send the plan and the sample plan and the PowerPoint, and we'll be in touch. Thank you very much for joining.